And welcome back to the Deep Thought playthrough of 999. We've just experienced the death of Snake, and now this is what I call the aftermath.
We saw the death of Snake, yet neither of us took the opportunity to do the obvious Snake! 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 So I'm very proud of us that neither of us made that joke.
The game could have made that joke as well.
It very well could have. But the game's not really all that referential of other games, to be honest. Yeah, it'll reference, one-off 1940s sci-fi novelettes that no one gives a fuck about. But, other video games, not something that this game makes a priority of talking about.
So, obviously, Clover is completely distraught. You could tell by her emotionless expression in that last part. But, now we're just trying to figure out what may have happened to Snake. And Seven thinks that he was murdered.
That goes without saying. I mean, you can't really say that death was due to natural causes. Maybe you could have thrown in suicide, like he did something really stupid against the rules of the nonary game, thus causing his belly bomb to blow up, but murder seems to be the most likely scenario with a human being strewn about the room.
Yeah, and as much as I hate to see it, he is one of the more easier people to kind of take out because, again, he's blind. Even with his heightened senses, he is still kind of accessible, however you say that, God, to that kind of thing.
To be fair, 99.9999% of humans are susceptible to bombs.
Well,
specifically bombs in their stomach, he's everywhere. He's not even just there. He is on the walls, the ceiling, the roof. He is everywhere. So you can't really be like, this could have been done with a baseball bat. No, not unless the guy had at least 5 hours to just bash him into a pulp and then smear what was left everywhere.
And going back to the Metal Gear thing, I just thought of another way they could have possibly removed the bomb. They could have just done what Snake did in Ground Zeroes, that odd thing that happened in there. Have you seen that?
I have not. I know what you're talking about, but honestly, at first, I thought you were going to talk about how in Snake Eater, after Naked Snake gets tortured, he has a tracking device in his body, and he has to cut it out. And so I was thinking something like that, but I know exactly what you're talking about, and that is a creepy scene.
You can say that again. Well, yeah, to be honest, I've never played any of the Metal Gear Solid games. I did play a demo of Metal Gear Snake, I think it's Snake Eater? Yeah, Snake Eater for the 3DS, the 3DS version, which is apparently a very good port. Might want to check that out eventually, but never quite interested me that much.
Dang. Gotta get so many people into Metal Gear Solid, it is sad.
Yeah. There's that HD collection, and then there's that Legacy collection that I could probably pick up one day, and maybe PS3 alongside it. But for now, I'm just gonna kind of be in the background and just wait for Phantom Pain to come out and everyone loving it, and
/ hating it.
Yeah, and right before anyone realizes this is probably the last game that Kojima Productions is ever going to make, unless it gets taken over completely by Konami. But who knows?
I do gotta say, I really do enjoy Super Depressed Quiet Clover way more than I had to bear with freaking anxiety-ridden Demandy Clover. So, Snake's death did have some benefits to it, in that Clover finally shut her yap.
Except that every time that she talks, it's something either incredibly creepy or incredibly sad. Like, for example, she just came up with the possibility that Zero could be one of us. Now we're down to 7, so it could be one of the 7 of us.
Hey, that's an old idea. I proposed that from the get-go back in part 1. He named himself a number. That intrinsically makes him a part of the nonary game.
Well, that is a good point, but I don't think anyone in the game has ever thought of that until Clover kind of pointed it out. And the option there, you can either kind of agree with her, like say, oh, that's kind of possible, or just completely disagree with her and say, bitch, you crazy.
Girl, I know you are suffering from trauma and stress right now, but you need to tone the cray-cray down a bit, like 3 notches.
Yeah, I think you need Jesus more than June does.
June may need a lobotomy. I'm just gonna put that out there. That is an option. We are on the Titanic, so it would be very timely.
Well, Clover's gonna need, like, an unimaginable amount of therapy after this.
Yeah, she can, that's something that we'll do the therapy afterwards. Tell you what, when we win the nonary game and we're outside and we see the cops, we'll let them know all about your situation and we'll get you some special help.
Put you in a nice room where no one else can ever hurt you again.
Meanwhile, we're just gonna supply Ace with a never-ending supply of drugs and needles. It's like, have fun, Gramps.
3 a.m. I think it is now, so we have only 3 hours left. Time's running out.
That's another thing, too. I would say that I would be hella tired at this point in the game just because I'd been up at 3 a.m., but we don't know for how long they were knocked unconscious by that gas, so they probably had like a good 12 hours of sleep right before this, and then they woke up at the start and played the game. But yeah, under normal circumstances, playing the nonary game at 3 a.m. would lead to much tired, sleepy decision making.
And definitely impair their decision making.
For all we know, that's why June is so cuckoo crazy.
I don't know. They don't have any of those dark circles around their eyes, so I think they're okay. And there's also the adrenaline that's probably been pumping through them throughout these last 6 hours. Because again, they're on a ship, they've been kidnapped, and they might blow up. Who wouldn't get nervous at the thought of that?
Keep that thought in mind about they're probably injected with something, because, not gonna say, but it may play a part in one of these games. In this series.
So might as well mention that when they went into the number 3 room, they actually had to solve the puzzle. So I'm pretty sure it was only Seven and Ace who handled that, because Clover was probably in a corner crying her eyes out or just doing something where she was no help at all. So while they were in the number 3 room, they found another key card, and it led to another elevator, which leads to another door. So now we have 3 doors to choose from when we inevitably have to choose another door to go through.
And this time they're scattered all over the place, and really the way to access them was to go through pretty much all 3 of the round 2 doors. So again, you don't really know how the nonary game works until you're at the very end, because with this, if they did not want to have this camaraderie between all 8 of them, then some people weren't going to be allowed to go through certain doors.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that they have a time limit attached to the whole thing, so you can't really waste any time, like just kind of waiting around deciding what to do. And like if you only go through like perhaps just one door, and you just like waste so much time that you can't go to the other doors, then you might be screwed.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that with 9 hours being in the title, I mean, yeah, the title doesn't really have much to do with the game itself other than outlining the premise of the nonary game, but I'm honestly surprised that with a time limit being one of the rules of the game, that at least the characters don't really seem too preoccupied. Yeah, they're in a hurry, but it's less about like, oh, we have this much time left. Like, we're having to guess about how many hours have passed for most of the game, and then occasionally they drop a reference to, oh, we have 2 hours left now. There's only an hour left. But the time limit doesn't really play too much into the game. And it's not like I was expecting an in-game timer. Not that, just I would have thought that the characters themselves within all these random conversations, at least when they're speaking about the situation itself, would bring up the time limit.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it earlier. A time limit would probably, like, a time limit to us is not a good idea, because I doubt you can get through this game in 9 hours. Unless it's like Ghost Trick, in which, like, after 9 hours, you can just kind of rewind time and do the whole thing over again, learning new things at once.
Rewinding time in 999. What are you, stupid?
I really like how the scuffling between Seven and Lotus kind of continues.
Damn it, Seven, you're a grown-ass man. There is no need for any sort of body shaming, okay? Lotus can wear whatever the hell she wants. Oh, hey look, there's totally a map of stuff that we've been talking about, but we weren't entirely too confident on what exactly we were talking about. So, there we go. A, B, C, not seeing a D, but E in bottom.
E in bottom, God, I just noticed that. And that is a weird looking map, I should say. I look at it closely, and yeah, it is pretty much what the maps are, but like the stairs are kind of placed there awkwardly, and it's like diagonally and almost transparent, so you almost can't see it. I mean, that's not what you're supposed to be looking at, but when you're kind of playing through this game multiple times, you just kind of like look at other things instead of the thing that is the game's trying to show you.
Yeah, honestly, the only helpful maps are the floor maps. And even then, they usually just show you the floor map to accentuate the point that, oh my god, we just went in a big circle. It's like, thanks, map. We needed that. Good job.
So the final door choice is that we've chosen is door number 1. And this path so far went into door number 4 first, then we went into door number 8, and then we went into door number 1. As I've said before, the game has multiple endings, and we will be going through all these endings. So you can probably tell that the ending that we're reaching for right now is probably not going to be a very good one. And the ending that we're going for is what happens if you go through door number 1 without going in any specific order, except a specific order. But like if you just go through door number 1 without going into the order you're supposed to go, and this is the ending that you're going to get, and this is the ending that we'll be seeing.
Yeah, because let's see, the 9th guy died, Snake died, Clover's not feeling too hot, Ace has developed an addiction, and Seven and Lotus are just bickering nonstop. Like we've essentially set up a bad future. I
believe that we're going through door number 1 with Ace and Clover as well, so,
We did not pick the best team. We're gonna have to solve this all by ourselves. You got Clover over in the corner crying, and you got Ace on the other corner just shooting up a whole nother bottle of Soparil or whatever. Yeah, sorry about that, buddy. We didn't know it was that addictive, but enjoy those last years of your life, huh?
This is the, let me guess, the Earth key, okay. It was the Earth key that we had to use to open the door.
And we actually get to go up in the boat, so no one has to worry about going down and getting wet. It's like you have to pick up Clover's wrist, put her hand on the scanner, pick up Ace's wrist, put his hand on the scanner, and then Junpei can put his own hand.
Or you could. Have they ever? Do you know what would? Do you wonder what would probably happen if 2 hands were to go on there at the same time? Would they just both cancel each other out, or does it it has to be one at a time, or would it add on both?
I assume that the machine would just not scan, and then you would just end up wasting more of your 9 hours. I mean, at this point, we've seen that if you fuck with the scanner, shit goes very, very wrong. So I think that's the one part of the whole game that they respect. Or not respect, but they fear it to the point that they don't even want to experiment with those bad boys. It's just, do it the way Zero says so we don't blow up.
So pretty much the same thing as the other doors. You gotta scan all 3 of your guys, and then go in, and then you gotta find the dead, and then you gotta scan that, and then you gotta hit the handle, and then you don't die.
Just to make sure that everyone who scanned made it through, and everyone is at least semi-willing to agree that they went through that door.
As Junpei had, or the third-person narrator had put it, the third time that these guys have done it, and naturally they have to become accustomed to it, because again, if you don't do that in time, you're gonna blow up.
Yeah, it does seem kind of weird though that the deads can differentiate, because the number 9 guy and Clover both touch the first red, but either the 9th guy touched the dead or no one touched the dead, but either case, Clover did not touch the dead, and the 9th guy was the only one who blew up. So you're kind of left wondering, is it just that if you have an incomplete group touch the dead, then the people who did touch it blow up? Or what? Essentially, what I'm asking is, why didn't Clover blow up when the 9th guy went through the door?
Well, I think it's just because like he had violated the rules. So, wait, I think it's the activator on your wrist is only activated when you would go through the door. Like there's a sensor of some sort that like senses if you have like if the wrist goes through or not.
So you could be a super dick and just be like, "Oh, you guys go in first," and then you just say like, "Bye."
Yeah, that could pretty much be it. And that probably explains why the people, the murderers who had thrown Snake in, also didn't die when the time ran out for Snake and he died as well.
So again, it's not all that fair. Like you can either get thrown in the room and blow up because you broke the rules, or because someone forced you. Like, it's really indiscriminate on who gets blown up.
So this is the puzzle rooms behind door number 1. The first one, it is the chart room, and it's a decent puzzle. It's not that great, but it's not bad either. And I should probably say now, there are bad puzzle rooms in this game. There are, like, as great it is to have these puzzle rooms to kind of distract from the whole thing that's going on, and to kind of distract from the novel sequences. They all can't be great.
I would say that the laboratory for me was definitely one of the weakers. Like, the whole room as a whole, like, story-wise, not interesting at all. And the puzzle, yeah, you were giving her commands, so there was a little gimmick to that. Was also not that good of a puzzle. I really, really did not like the laboratory scene, or the laboratory puzzle rooms. And yeah, like you said, we're gonna get to some points in this game where the puzzles are just outright bad. And it's not even bad as in, oh wow, how was I supposed to know? But just like, dumb. Really fucking dumb. And then throw in that some can be dumb and obscure at the same time.
Well, as I think I might have said this when we were doing the number 8 room, but when you're not going on a specific path, like the path that gives you the most information, the most of the time the door that you go into will not. It's just kind of a waste of time. It's like very, very slow. It's also very quick as well, because you can get the puzzle room done, but it's also just like I don't learn that much from it.
Yeah. This is also the first puzzle room on this path that we've taken that we're not with Lotus. The first room we with her when she explained the morphogenetic field, and in the second one we got to learn that, wow, she can actually use a computer like an absolute boss. But this is, compared to the previous 2 rooms, this is obviously our second time with Clover, and she is just as useful as she was in the last room. Her sulking last room got her trapped in the room, and now she is sulking so hard that she's not doing a damn thing in this room. Which, can't blame her. What point is there in escaping if she can't even have her brother with her? The big difference now is we actually can hang out with Ace. post his drug high or drug low, however you want to put it. And we're finding out that he's actually pretty good at fixing a watch. We're just getting little bits of information from him. Honestly, this is our first time hanging out with him. We had Santa in the first room, but, you know, this is definitely the path that if you want to know more of who Lotus is now, you take these rooms. And then if you want to really see Clover's decline, this is also the same path you should be taking for that kind of information.
Yeah, this was the first path that I took when I first played the game, 4, 8, and 1. And again, I think it was probably just the attachment to Clover. Like, she's important somehow. I don't know how, I don't know why, and I don't know what, but she's important. But yeah, with Ace, it's just he's even though he is a completely riddled drug addict, he does seem like a wise man when he's not high on whatever he's taking. So
to be fair, that was our bad. It's not like he doesn't have control. He was probably clean for years, and then we were like, hey, you want some? We're just gonna give this to you to make dying seem easier. And you're like, oh, you're not dying, so, RB.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm pretty sure he had that in his pocket, so I don't think we gave it to him. He may have just found it on his own. So...
But we enabled him. We told him that it was okay. Instead of saying, no, Ace, you've been clean. You're doing a good job. Be strong. No, we were like, you know what, bro? Have fun.
So I think I also mentioned this while we were in the other 8 room before, but the way I captured these, did these puzzle rooms is I did the puzzle room without recording anything first, so I can just know what to do in order to do it as quickly as possible. And what you're seeing now is just me doing it very fast. So what I had to memorize, this particular room requires a lot of memorization, because the maps that you use all have the information that you need in order to solve these puzzles, but you can't look at the map as you're solving the puzzle. So it's a little inconvenient, but it's not that bad.
It's definitely a room that if you have a piece of paper to just write down the information. I can't remember if this game has a notepad in the game itself, but for this whole room, just having an actual scrap piece of paper and writing the information, for the steering wheel, it was from the ship's log that gave you the directions, and then with the engine telegraph, you needed the nautical charts. If you just write down the directions and the speeds, then you have the solution, and then you won't waste your time looking back and forth trying to get your solution.
Yeah, I don't think 999 has a notepad. It has a calculator though, so that's useful. Kind of. I never used it.
I kind of like this room, other than its puzzles being good. It's just, I've said it before that Ace is probably one of my favorite characters in the game. He has a lot of really stupid, funny quotes, and Junpei's reactions to them tend to be like Ace trying to say something that sounds funny or sounds cute, and then Junpei wondering, like, why is he saying these things? Like, when you examine the compass, Ace asked Junpei, what destiny does it point us to? And Junpei is not having any of it. He's like, I hope he doesn't think that sounded cool. It's like, wow, Junpei, chill out. You haven't said that. It's not like anything you've said has been much cooler, so you might want to tone down the judgment.
So we have finally, so we solved the puzzle for this room, and obviously Clover did absolutely nothing.
Thank you. Thanks, Clover. So how does it feel to know that your brothers did and you're of no use?
Well, we'll find out more on the next episode of Deep Thought. We'll see you then.